Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today I have my good friend and client with me here, Pablo. So Pablo, thank you so much for coming on the channel.
Thank you for having me.
I wanted to bring him on because we started working together around 4 or 5 months ago at this point. He joined Clients for Creatives right in the beginning stages, and he was able to go from, around 1K a month being a freelancer, graphic designer, to now running, last month was your best month, around 12K, right? Not cash collected, but
cash collected was 10.3.
10.3K cash collected, 12K something revenue. So obviously that's like a really great achievement, and especially in such a short period of time. I'm sure it didn't feel short when you were going through it and the struggles and the pain of building an agency, but I'm very proud of like how far you've come in this time. So I thought I would bring him on, share some of the lessons he learned from building this creative agency, and also just the journey. So hope you guys are going to enjoy. And why don't we start right at the beginning, around 5 months ago when you first decided to join. Like, what kind of situation were you in terms of, both your career, what you wanted to do, and like the story of how you basically found Clients for Creatives, and why you decided to join, basically.
Cool. Sure. Well, first of all, thanks so much for having me.
Yeah. By the way, check out his channel and Instagram in the description below if you want to learn more from him. He got some really good stuff.
Cool. So basically, I'm just gonna focus on like this last period of when we met and everything. But I was freelancing. I was doing graphic design, and I was a struggling freelancer basically because I wasn't really putting that much effort into looking for new clients and so on. So I was just having some like residual projects from old clients that I had from the past and so on. But then at the end of last year, beginning of this year, I was like, I always had the dream or the goal of running my own business. I always knew I would do it. I've always been around business people. But this year I was like, okay, I really want to make this happen for me finally. So I decided moving from freelancing to running an agency. And I started trying to figure this out by myself, right? I used to do graphic design mostly, like brand design, so logos, banners for social media, things like this. And I've always worked in the coaching, consulting space, right? But then I realized like trying to sell this as an agency service in this specific sector, it was tough because coaches and consultants in general don't need this service that much. And I managed to be making a little money with this, but I never really felt fully comfortable. I didn't feel I was like really like making a change for my businesses. I wasn't like providing like amazing value because like I could see that my service was not really helping them that much. That was one thing. And also then I couldn't make that much money with it. Again, like I was making like 2K on average, because my projects were very inconsistent. I would get like a big project 1 month and then have nothing for 2 months or something.
Yeah. So very inconsistent, yeah.
Yeah. Luckily, I already knew how to charge kind of high ticket, so that was what let me kind of move on with this. But at some point I was like, you know what? I have some savings from this freelancing work. I want to find someone that can really make a shortcut for me and just like getting straight to where I want to get, right? And I remember I literally went to YouTube and I typed something like how to grow a content creation agency. And then one of the first videos was a video of you. And there you were, I don't know, sitting on a garden on a villa somewhere.
Yeah, that was a bit too much, but hey, it got the attention.
It fucking worked.
Yeah, it worked. As shameless as it is, but that was really good time in Madeira last year. But anyways.
Yeah, and so I saw you there, and the title was like very compelling for me. It was something about like, how I'm running my own creative agency or something like this. And then everything you were saying was like, oh my god, this is exactly what I'm looking for. It's so fresh, right? Because everyone online like all the like, I don't know, Iman Gadzis, Sebastian, Georgius, all these guys, like, they're running different business models, you know, like
Yeah.
Facebook ad agencies or Google ads or e-commerce or fucking whatever. But I found no one really talking about an agency with a more of a creative service, you know, like content creation, design.
Yeah.
So I was like, cool, this is great. And then, I mean, the whole video, like, I just really liked your personality, your energy. And then on the description, like, literally the first sentence was like, if you want my help one-on-one, helping you scale your agency, book a call here. And that was the thing that finally got me, like the one-on-one aspect of it. Because I was like, this is what I'm looking for. Someone that is like, that is offering consulting, but that is very accessible. And like, there's like a true like personal communication. Because I used to be a few years ago on a different business mentoring program where it was a very massive program where like there was like hundreds or thousands of students. So the access to the coaches was not ideal, right? Like I didn't have the best experience basically. So it was like a big thing for me to find someone that is approachable, accessible, right?
Yeah.
And then I could tell also that you were just like starting out with this, and I like that. There was something about it that I feel like, okay, I can be part of this, of something on its early stages, and I can provide more value than if you were already also far ahead, right? So I didn't think it twice. Like I didn't even check your YouTube channel, your videos. I didn't even check your website. I was like, this is it. Like I know it feels right. And as I was telling you earlier, like this might be a little, I don't know, unpopular opinion in the business space, but I don't make my decisions. I make many decisions mostly from a feeling place. And I know this can be controversial because like people always like to be fully rational and logic. And definitely there's a place for that, and I can be rational when I have to. But I also have, I would say I have a lot of sensitivity and intuition in this sense. And I know I can trust it because I've always been right, basically. And I can say again that I was right going all in with you, and I'm very happy I did, basically.
Yeah. Well, thank you for the kind words. So yeah, when you joined, at first you were selling the graphic design kind of offer. I mean, it wasn't really an offer. It was more like one-off things, and you would make a bunch of offers to a bunch of niches. I mean, you had the overall niche of like consultants, but it wasn't super focused on the offer side of things. So then I believe we tried to make that work, like the graphic design branding offer work. But then we saw that it wasn't getting that much traction. So then you decided to we decided to go into more so the direction of having a retainer-based offer. That's a monthly service around basically content creation, and also positioning that as a growth offer. So like getting clients more sales and sales appointments through content management and like personal branding help, pretty much, right? So yeah, that was a few weeks in. What happened after that? Like, yeah, when did you get your first client after, like how long did you get your first client and results after joining, and what were those next few months like after?
So yeah, again, when I joined you, I was still doing this like branding work, like doing designs for coaches. And one of the first things you told me was like, no matter what offer you have, you should start posting content again. You should start posting content on Facebook at least once a week, something like this. With the idea of like slowly building starting building my own brand.
Yeah.
And that was something that I always knew I wanted to do. I always knew someday I was going to have a brand, a big audience, or a big influence, because it's something that I care about. So I was like, you know what? Okay, I'm gonna start doing this now. And literally the first week, like I remember I posted I reposted like a couple posts that I had posted like years ago, like 1 year ago at least. And literally on that same week, some random guy from my network in Facebook just commented, "Hey, this is what I need." Then we had a call, and I closed this guy $3,000 on the first week, like just by posting something on Facebook again, you know, because I have like a network of coaches and consultants on Facebook already. From my previous, again 2 years ago when I was in this other program, I built this network, and I just kind of started using that again, right? So that was how it started. Then that was the first client. Then I got one second client, similar way, just posting Facebook a little bit. But again, those were the only 2 clients that I managed to acquire for this specific service. And then I realized this service had many issues. You know, like first of all, there's not so much demand for this in my niche, and it was very tough to deliver because it required so much, not just time from my side, but also mental focus and energy on, you know.
It wasn't really like systemizable and productizable as a service, right?
Exactly, and it required me, because I was the one really understanding. Like, it required too much of my own expertise and my own experience as a designer. I tried to outsource it and it didn't work. So I paid a designer for nothing, basically, because I had to do it myself on fucking Sunday evening to deliver the next day, you know. So anyways, I realized there were many issues with this. And again, this was like one-time project, so it was not retainer, right?
Yeah.
So we discussed this a lot, and then I finally made the mental shift of, okay, I have to become a business owner. Like I was so used to be a freelancer or an employee that I was trapped in my work, and I kept trapping myself unconsciously in the work. I didn't fully understand or grasp what it meant to really stay on top of my hustle, of my business. And then it took me a while.
Sorry, like to make the shift from working in your business to working on it was like a pretty difficult mental, you know, thing. To like remove yourself from the trenches every day, like, you know, doing the work, like the delivery. But and
I feel like this is a very common struggle for most people, because probably also your followers, because we grow up in this way. We are taught to work for someone else, to listen to someone else. So the actual experience of being on top, it's an experience. It's like a daily experience that we're not familiar with in general. So to truly embody that and realize, oh wow, this is right. This is how I need to be every day. That's tough. It takes time to figure that out and feel comfortable in that new identity.
Yeah, exactly.
It might feel like suddenly you're not doing anything. Because, like, again, if you stay on top of the business, you're just doing smart, strategic work. You're not doing like the labor.
Yeah.
So sometimes it feels like, oh my God, but like I'm not doing anything right now. Is my business actually working and growing? Yeah, it is. Like, chill down. Like, that's why you stay on top of it, right? So all of this is like, it took me several months, actually, like at least 2 or 3 months to fully grasp. And when that happened, when I fully embodied that, I needed 1 month executing from that mentality. I made my fucking 10K.
And you blew it up. So you had like a very explosive, rapid growth once you made the mindset shift. But even in the meantime, you are creating a lot of like systems for your agency, like working in Notion, like creating the SOPs around everything. I could tell you are a very like organized guy, and like very, you know, like focused, tunnel vision. So I think at some point you were even like spending a bit too much time on creating the systems and back-end processes, because you are trying to think like 15 steps ahead and not selling.
That was a big issue.
But then once you kind of had like a good base back-end that you built out in like a month or so, you also like started hiring your first couple people, right? And then you went all in on like the content creation side of things, like putting out valuable material, building your brand. I don't know about messaging. Like, I don't know how much outbound you did. You could maybe share some about that. Share. But you were posting like almost every day, like putting up stories, everything. And then you started, you know, getting clients, and you got how many? Like 4 or 5 clients in the last 6 weeks or something like that. Like, I mean, basically you said you were getting a client per week.
Like I got one client yesterday, another client last week, another one, you know. So yeah, it's basically like right now I think we have 5 or 6 clients plus one partnership with another agency.
Yeah.
And all of this happened in less than 6 weeks for sure.
Yeah, which is crazy, and I think you're holding up very well, because like, you know, it's obviously not an easy thing. Like everybody wishes for fast growth, but it's not an easy thing to handle.
No, for sure. Like I don't want to make this sound like
Yeah.
it's all great. Like I've been like the month of August, which is the best month of summer. I spent it all day long, every single day, home working.
Yeah.
Because I had to stay on top of this baby, because if I left it by itself, it would die.
Yeah.
I had to be on top of it so much. Like I missed fucking Siget Festival.
Yeah.
All my friends went to fucking Siget Festival, which is the biggest festival here in Budapest where we live. I didn't go, and
Well,
I
I
mean,
missed it too. Don't worry.
but to be honest, I had
Yeah.
like you know this idea of FOMO. Then there's like JOMO, which is like the joy of missing out.
Yeah.
I felt good about it. I was like, okay, I'm working on my thing. I'm working towards my goal, so I don't complain about it. But what I want to say is that, yeah, it was not an easy thing. And also, bear in mind, I had some kind of experience already in business, you know, and like dealing with people and having a team. So maybe that's why I could also kind of grow faster
Yeah.
on just on that 1 month where everything started to click. Because at the same time that new clients were coming in, all that work needed to be delivered, and I could not do that by myself. So at the same time that I was getting clients kind of rapidly or whatever, I had to build a team very quickly.
Yeah.
So in a matter of like, again, 4 weeks, I had to go from being me plus maybe one editor helping me out, and another girl also helping, kind of assisting me on managing a couple things, to now we are like 6 or 7 people
Yeah.
in the team, because to basically handle all this work. Now that we're getting more stable in this new kind of stage of the business, I'm starting to rearrange the team and maybe kind of reallocate some positions or whatever. But yeah, right now we have like 6 people in Slack basically working every day together.
Yeah.
So it's an actual thing. Like it's actual work, you know. It's not like it just happens, you know.
For sure. I remember when we were doing like some of the one-on-one calls, and we were talking about building the team, and like we were talking about hiring. So yeah, like it's pretty impressive how like solid of a team you built up in this amount of time. So yeah, I wanted to ask, you know, overall, like what was your experience working? What was your experience like working with, you know, Greg and I, Clients for Creatives, and also like what were the main things that you think made? I mean, it's up to you to decide whether it was worth it or not, of course. But like, what were the main positives of it that helped a lot? You feel like on the journey.
Right.
And you know, I'm obviously not paying like him to say it. So if you want to say shit, like feel free to do so. You know, but I'm just curious.
Yeah. Great question. Well, first of all, Greg, shout out to Greg, fucking incredible guy.
Yeah, he's a G.
He's such a G, like you cannot believe. But cause yeah, like when I joined you guys, like as much as I barely knew you as well, because I was not following you beforehand. At least I knew your face, because I saw, okay, you're the guy in the video. And I remember like when I signed up for the call, Greg replied to me saying me that he was gonna have the call with me. I was like, I had no idea who Greg was.
Yeah.
So I was like, no, like I literally sent him like a few emails, like super strict on, I don't want to talk to you, I want to talk to Vince. Okay. So in the initial consulting call, on the discovery call, I don't want to talk with Greg, I want to talk with Vince. I was super strict with him. And now I feel so bad, because like, sorry Greg, like I would have happily have it with you if I knew who you were. But yeah, like both of you, what has been the most valuable for me were those initial one-on-one sessions we had together, like 100%. Like I remember, like on the first few months of us working together, like we would have those like 1 hour conversations.
Yeah, or sometimes even longer.
Or even long. Yeah, I mean, with Greg, I went up to 2 hours sometimes, if I can say that on camera. But because yeah, he was always there, you know, staying there for me, just like any other question, and those conversations were like, literally, there's maybe like 2 or 3 of those calls that only those 3 calls are worth the money.
I'm happy to hear that.
Because like I know that for you, maybe what you were sharing was the most trivial everyday bread and butter for you. But you gotta understand, for someone that doesn't have your experience of being that agency owner, it's incredibly valuable to see it so clear what is the exact mindset and the exact approach to things. So I don't know, one of the main big things that was incredible for me was designing the new offer. And that happened our first consultant call together. You started laying down how to actually build the offer properly, and I was like, holy fuck, how I never thought of this in this way, right?
Yeah.
And that was already massive. And then after that, especially with Greg, I think I had a couple calls. Incredible. Like, he helped me with the whole, like, the outreach, the client acquisition.
Yeah. Greg is super good at, like, technical stuff. Like, very, very, like, you know, stripping it down to the basics. But like very complex things.
Yeah, and what I love about Greg as well is that he's running a very successful agency. Like, I don't know how
like
much
he doesn't have to do this, you know.
Exactly. Like he made like 30K like a few months ago or whatever. And then what I love about him is that when I jump on a call with him, he is more than happy to literally just share with me the exact processes and systems and things from his own agency. So he's literally like giving me access to anything I might need from his own agency for me to learn or copy, and that was very valuable for me. And he would like be revising my systems and everything. So
okay, awesome. I mean, thank you so much for the kind words. We really appreciate it. Like Greg and I. Greg probably also appreciates it.
One day I want to meet also Greg.
Yeah, definitely. We want to do actually like a winter like ski camp for the members. But yeah.
Cool.
And
actually, can I ask, how do you guys meet, you and Greg?
I was actually he was my first coaching student actually, like 2 years ago, and I was like, I did like a free call giveaway like 2 years ago, and he won that. And then we had that call. He didn't take any action off of it because he didn't pay for it. And then a few months later, once he signed his first client for like $500, he bought like 1 hour or 2 hours with me of like one-on-one. And then, he was like, you know, help me out with this, dude. He basically was like my first proper student, and then, you know, he did really well. I mean, obviously, guy's a beast. Like, he's very hardworking, very disciplined, smart. So, but that's kind of how we met. He was following me online. Lastly, I wanted to ask, how did you find the group calls? Like, you know, we do weekly group calls at Clients for Creatives, you know, and I actually really appreciate you being like a big part of the community. Like, you've been on a lot of these calls. So how did you find that? Did you were you able to like network with some other people there, like meet some new people? What was your experience with that?
Okay, so group calls have been at some stage of my journey working with you. Group calls have been a big part of the support that I had. It's true that, well, first of all, at the beginning, I remember for the first few weeks, I just never saw the group calls. I also understand, you know, you were also like still building the program and so at first
that was a bit of a mess up.
But like, I mean, I don't mind if you leave this or not, but like, I remember like, I was not really like, because again, I had my expectations pretty clear. Like, I was not really expecting you to kind of solve my life. So I knew that it's okay. Like, Vince is giving me so much value already, you know, he's figuring out also the support system for the program. So that's all good. But I mean, it's been already months that the calls are happening pretty regularly. And then, throughout the summer, especially, it was very, very valuable for me to be able to once a week know that I could jump there and just like clear my all the little questions that I built up throughout the week that would help me kind of take action like sharply for the next week. That was very, very, very useful. Because again, the one-on-one sessions are very, very good at the beginning when you need to kind of work out very kind of deep and like
long topics.
But that's just like, there's so much of that you need to do. It will inevitably get to the day when all you have to do is put in the work. Just like fucking take action.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's also like a huge issue with most people on YouTube. It's like you keep educating yourself and watching content, but you don't realize that you already probably know all you need to know. Or you know everything you need to know. The real secret is to literally stop the video on YouTube and put in the work. So
yeah, it's a lot of like mental masturbation, you know, like consuming all the knowledge, feeling like you're productive, but you're not actually moving forward. That's the thing. Like, so yeah, I totally agree with you on that.
So this time for me was so incredibly clear. I realized there's literally nothing else I need to learn. All I have to do is execute on these things on this paper, basically on this list.
Yeah.
And as I started executing, that's when like the actual real kind of real life issues
the roadblocks come up. Yeah.
And having the weekly checkpoint of, okay, I can discuss this with Vince, that helped a lot.
Okay. I'm happy to hear that.
It's true that just to kind of finish,
of course.
The last few, for example, yesterday there was a call I didn't hop in.
Yeah.
But the reality is that, I mean, usually at the time that we're having the calls now, I'm actually having my own group calls, either with my clients or some other things. But also that's one thing, but also it's like, so far, like at least for this month, the stage that I hit on my business, I feel like I can just like keep navigating it by myself. If anything, now I enjoy jumping on the calls. Like I jumped, I think last week to actually help the new guys in the team.
Yeah,
and I actually kind of you. It fulfills me. If I feel like I can help somehow, I like to do that. And now in terms of the community, I myself haven't been fully kind of how to say, like I haven't been networking with the other guys in the thing, mostly because honestly I just think I personally am a bit on a different page. You're
everybody's working at their own pace. I think the way I look at the group calls is like, especially when you're starting out, it's a great place to come every week to keep your spirit up, right? Like, because in the beginning, you know how hard it is to keep putting out the content, keep sending out the outreach and not really see much results for months even. So it's just like a nice place to come together, you know, see that there are other people winning, like, you know, like Marco doing 25K in a month, you doing like 12K now, you know, Greg hitting 30K, like seeing all these people and actually talking to them is like, I think it's a really good thing to keep you motivated when you're just starting out and see like it's actually possible. It's not just like made up stories on the internet.
Yeah.
Right? Now, lastly, what I wanted to go into is like, I guess just any like key lessons or pieces of advice you would share with yourself, you know, from 5 months ago, or someone who's like looking to get into this industry. Like, what would be your best piece of advice?
Okay, wow, that's a very good question.
Is it? It's pretty like stereotypical, but
it's very stereotypical, but like it's like it really forces you to kind of find the
key moments,
the key juice of the whole thing, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, this thing we just talked about, right? This idea of like, it really is. Fuck. That was the alarm for the 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Okay, so honestly, I think it's one of my biggest lessons has been around mindset.
Mm-hmm.
Literally, like my identity, my self-image, of moving from seeing myself as a broke, lost freelancer, employee, whatever, to an actual business owner. And again, it doesn't mean that me now as a business owner, I have all my shit together, but it's embodying the mindset of someone that has their shit together, meaning someone that can find their own answers and execute by their own. Like, those things are personality traits that you can cultivate.
Mm.
And doing those things has been probably the biggest thing that has helped me get to where I am now in less than 1 year, right? In this like half a year. That was a massive change. The identity shift from freelancer that needs to be doing the work and that doesn't know how to find clients, to the business owner that basically just executes, shuts the fuck up and executes, and because he knows that by following these steps, like posting content and reaching out to people, there's no way you will not get clients. It's literally impossible that if you are every day showing up on social media and starting conversations with people, it's impossible not making money. It's impossible.
Yeah.
Eventually, if you put the right volume for long enough, someone is going to respond positively and someone is going to want to pay you money for it.
Yeah. And I think one of my favorite things is like this saying, I actually think I heard this from Iman, but obviously it's not his quote. It's like, when it rains, it pours. And it's so true. When it rains, it pours. Like when it's raining, it's really raining. And what I mean by it is just like the momentum that when you start picking up some momentum, like you're a prime example of this, like once you started really dialing everything in after months and months of going at it hard, finally getting like some traction with the offer, you start getting like clients, Stripe payments. And it's like, you got to keep pushing through that period of like not seeing much results or maybe something here and there. But then like once you actually feel it like building up and you start getting some results, you got to keep pushing, because that's when you can make the most progress, when the wind is like going against your back. Because in the beginning, like you go against the wind, it's like force, you need to push it, you need to like build up the momentum. But then once it's like starting to build up, then you gotta keep riding it, because it gets easier.
It's like also the idea of like positive cycles, which is basically this. It's like, if you were doing something and that something brought you to this stage, now that you got there, don't stop doing that. Like keep doing, double down on that thing that got you there.
Yeah, don't self-sabotage. This is just another whole topic on its own. But
it's what I'm also telling my clients is like, especially something like this, right? Like either posting content on or reaching out to potential clients. It's something that takes time to gain traction.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, and this is why most people never succeed at this, is because for weeks and months, you might not see any results. And so people think, oh, this is not the way, but it actually is. So it's like this mantra that I always tell myself, and I tell people that I try to help is, you probably already know the right things to do. And if not, I tell you right now, it's literally post content every day and start new conversations every day. Now, the key or the secret is you need to do these things with the enough volume, because if you're doing talking to 5 people a day, don't expect any results. You gotta be talking to 20, at least 30. Right volume, but that's not just it. It's the right volume for long enough. Because if you text 50 people a day for 1 week, you won't get anywhere either.
But if you haven't built up enough rapport as well.
Exactly. Yeah. If you stick for 4, 5, 6, 7 weeks, it's pretty much impossible. Because why? Because most people will never do this thing. And if you do the thing that most people would never do, you will achieve the results that most people will never achieve.
Exactly. And
it's so fucking true.
Yeah, that's a great way to end it off. And lastly, what I want to kind of just touch on a bit is like, in the beginning you will suck. Like you can't really skip the sucking part. Even if you buy a program, even if you watch old videos, like when you first start sending out outreach, when you first start creating content, you will suck. But then the more you do it, you will just start sucking a little bit less with each video, right? Like even if you compare your first video on your personal brand to your current ones, it's a huge difference in just a few months. And
I remember when I did my first video, I was like, wow, this is so badass. It looks so good already in
Looking
the first
back,
one. And I'm like, what? Like, Pablo, you are so fucking cringe. Like,
and that's the thing. Like, I think I heard this from Alex Hormozy, that like once you do it enough, you start sucking so little that you are actually considered good. So like, just do it. You will suck. Do more of it. You will suck less and less until you actually become pretty good. So yeah. Pablo, thank you so much for sharing your journey and all the kind words as well. If you guys want to see some more content from him, which I highly recommend, go ahead and check out his Instagram and YouTube channel as well. Let's try to get Pablo. How many subscribers are you at on YouTube now?
I mean, YouTube is just starting. Maybe I've got like 20 something subscribers.
Okay, so let's try to get him up to his first 100 subs. So go ahead, check out his channel. You can learn a lot from him as well. And thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you, bro. Thank you so much.